Shemai! I'm going for a walk. You want to come? I'm starting in the middle of Govilon village, just on top of the canal. I'm going to wend my way up towards the Tumble, up into the Govilon hill, over onto the Blorenge, and then I'm pretty much determined to sleep out tonight. The weather is looking very fair, but cold overnight. Maybe I'll make my last decision on the hill. Anyway, I'll show you where we're going. So I'm starting here at the end of the stick, that bridge just over the canal. I'm going to follow the roads out through the end of the village, winding my way along this road here, Tumble Lane, picking up the footpaths then at the end, taking me up into the Tumble. From the Tumble across to Penforth Goch Pond, Keeper's Pond, and from there out onto the Blorenge. Just making my way along to the railway bridge, not out of the village yet. I found this nice little crop of King Alfred's cakes, which are super duper for holding an ember. They're on their way. They can get waterlogged, which aren't so helpful, but dry and light, very helpful indeed for carrying an ember. My whole journey today is going to be running off tick-off features, following along on the map, telling a little story really, heading up to a particular junction, counting off a particular number of roads or footpaths or field boundaries. Anyway, first one, the railway bridge. And perfect timing. We're going to turn over the bridge, kinking right, then following up Tumble Lane. We're off to a positive start so far. Hard to imagine when the railway chugged through here. I can't remember if it was the 60s or later that the line finally fell silent and out of use. It's a cycle path now. It's hard getting this out of the village though without all the traffic interrupting filming. And you know, as well as I do, that my films are mediocre at best. We'll be out to the countryside soon though. Sometimes it's more helpful than others. I told you we're aiming for Tumble Lane, and this will be us. But before we head off, let's just remind ourselves what our tick-off features are as we move up. That's where we are, by the 42. We're going to follow along till we cross over a sunken lane, past that bridleway on the left hand side, all the way up till the road ends and it becomes a sunken lane. And here's our first bridleway on the left. But you don't need me counting off every single of my tick-off features. I'll wake you up when there's something interesting to see. Now this is more like it. The sun streaming through in part of our first false spring. Looking out over the beautiful Govilon hill, up into the quarries of Pulthdy, and then up onto the flanks of the Blorenge, where I shall have my tea. It is a beautiful day. I'd say unseasonably warm, but I'm jolly glad for the sunshine. I've had altogether enough of the darkness and the wind and the rain. It's ruined some good adventure time. Anyway, enough talking. I don't walk up this way often enough. In fact, it's probably true to say I don't walk anywhere often enough. It's got hints of the lakes. It's got hints of North Wales. It's just a beautiful time of year. The birds are out chirping. Donkeys and horses are out in the fields. The sun's dipped behind Govilon Hill now, behind Pwllheli. It's a little chill in the air. There is no escaping, it's the end of February. Hopefully we'll push back up onto the hill before the sun disappears. Maybe we'll have time to catch the sunrise in the morning. Or maybe I'll be in bed. Or home. Approaching the end of the road for us. Well, no, it's not. We're continuing. It's the end of the tarmac for us. Then we're up onto the hill, across the tarmac and onto the pond. Just chatting to a friend of mine. Passed him in the lane. I said, I haven't been up here for probably 20 years. And I just don't know why. It is beautiful. A quintessentially Welsh country lane. Farms, sheep and cattle, birds, wood smoke in the air. It's bloody delightful. Anyway, onwards and very shortly upwards. So I've got to make a bit of a decision here. I'm on this right of way here in between the fence lines. That one just there. But at the end of this I'm going to hit this building and then I should by rights follow that footpath up to the left and then up into the Tumble. But I wonder if I'd be able to sneak up that driveway and then hit the footpath there and straight up. Don't know. Let's find out. So the right of way cuts up through that woodland just up there. I could also go over the bridge and then up to the right, but that takes me onto the wrong flank really. Cute little doggies in the window. So I could go that way, but there's a sign here and I'm hoping, looking at the path, it's pretty well worn. No motorised vehicles. Driving on common land is an offence, I reckon. Let's go for this obvious, well-worn footpath here and up into the Tumble. It's still early. Otherwise, I'd be tempted by this beautiful little cwtch here. I've got my bivvy bag, my sleeping bag, my roll mat. Look at that little sheltered piece of heaven. Onwards and upwards though. I got a little bit distracted by places to dip and watching the river. And I got sucked down a bit off the side of the spur. So I'm pushing back up now to rejoin our path. and then I'm going to head up onto the tumble itself. Even this isn't the path proper. The map shows it running up the centre of that spur and then up onto Puchby, and the tumble tucked in just there before I head up to the pond. And out. Next stop, Cumaiva and the tumble. Now that was fairly lucky that we paused and double checked, because we've just come through that gateway and then the obvious path ahead of us runs up that side. There isn't really anything obvious up this side, and yet, end of the stick, we don't want to be going left. We need to be heading up the centre. I can't show you, I need two hands. We need to be heading up there until we hit that track just at the edge of the escarpment. I don't know if it will focus for you, but I can see the steep lines there, the drops, the rocks. So I got to head up to there, and just underneath that high ground I should hit the track and follow that across to the Blorenge and Keepers and the Blorenge. Fingers crossed. This bit is not proving as easy as I'd like it to be. It is pretty steep and chossy. Each footstep is giving way. The ground is loose and rocky and steep. I can't film and fall over. That's where we're heading though. See you soon. Whose idea was this? Look at that slope. Look at it. I'm in the right direction though. Heading up. We'll be there soon. I've got dinner waiting for me in my bag. I am almost where I need to be. Last push up through these and my track is up there. But it is a push. It's bloody steep and very wet. Right, do I admit to this? Of course I do, because I'm not too big. We walked along Cum Lane, walked up here to the house. I had the choice just over the bridge. I could have gone right, I went straight on. I dropped in here because I was paying too much attention to the stream. It was pretty, but I regained that sunken road, that track there, and I popped out. And then at the gate I got a bit confused because it's so small and tight. The gate was definitely there and there was a stile that went over the fence, but I slightly misread things. And I talked to you about, oh look, I could easily have gone this way. Thing is, I wasn't quite as high as I thought I was. I was making the right decision and heading on the right angle. I was just 100 meters or 150 meters off. 100 meters. And now what happened is I followed up that fence line and I thought about videoing and saying, do you know, you can never really trust paths because the sheep make them. You can be following animal tracks and think it's right. I couldn't work out why that fence line was there when it wasn't on here. But the style and things had persuaded me, and the lay of that line, that footpath curling around the fence line, I had it in my head and I've pushed up here. So I'm now really close to this track. Unhelpfully, it's just over a contour above me and it's really steep, so I'm going to follow the contour around until I pick it up and then follow through there. And now looking down, I can see the gate is just down under there, and I should have followed round and I would have picked up a path coming diagonal up the hillside up to where I'm going to go ahead of me. I'm not too big or too proud. Skills, they're only sharp when you practice them. I learn through failure. Right, keep pushing on. Did I tell you how horribly wet, slippery, precarious this whole path is? Every footstep is sliding away. Everything is sliding away. And if I could just push up over that contour line, I'll be onto the track and safe. But I got a feeling it's going to need both hands again. I came out for an adventure, didn't I? Right, I'll see you on the other side of that. It is heading in the right direction. I just hope it's passable onto the top. Oh, blimey. An adventure is what I asked for. I just don't want to have to call out the mountain rescue team because I slipped. Oh, this is feeling positive. There we are. There we are. That's where I wanted to be. This is where I wanted to be all the time. And I'm here. So let's trek along the flat. Let's make up for some lost time. Let's get up to the pond and have food. Now we are heading to quite the jumble of footpaths, so I've got to keep my wits about me. There it is, coming in from the left. This footpath down here would have been where I came up. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. And then I've got a double choice again here. This way to the bridge would take me back round, following the old tram road, down past the forge, Garnzirus, and back out onto the flanks, then dropping down to Govilon. And instead, we're going to go up again, up the pony track, up to the rodent keepers. But first, let's go have a little look at the stream. For no reason, then I must be part otter, and I bloody love a stream. Anyway, I got another choice. I could cut up the side here and across, but frankly I've done enough off-roading. I'm going to stick to the path, make best time up to Keeper's Pond, and then probably some food up onto the top. Whoa, that was close. I'm undecided yet where I'm going to stay. In my mind, I've got a set of rocks that are tucked out the wind, but they won't be the most comfortable, but they will be out the wind. Or I could just hunker down in the old quarries, and that might give me the best sunrise, always get those confused, might give me the best sunrise view without having to get out my scratcher, and that would be worth planning ahead for. Anyway, back to this for now. Oh, it is a lovely evening. I'd rather hoped to have been up on top of Blorenge already, seeing this light slowly die out. We're not far off pushing up to the top. I want to pause briefly and show you a Second World War bunker as well. And that means I've rather committed myself to pushing along the road up to the top, and then fairly swiftly along the path up to the top of Blorenge. When this little climb is over, the hardest is definitely behind me. It's not terribly easy to talk, look, film, keep the camera steady and think of anything to say. Right, in a minute. We have done the very worst. And what a sky to finish in. Sky out there towards the Cambridge tips, out to Big Pit. Oh, it is looking stunning. Stunning. And then down onto the Tumble below us, the Forge and down, Sugarloaf, the Black Mountains, the radio mast on Govilon Hill. Oh my word. Worth every moment. And that's the top. We've reached the road. We really have. And more traffic. But what a view. What a view. Right. Onwards and upwards. I've said that more than once. And we're going to push up onto Penford Keeper's Pond. Last little push. There's a tiny bit of uphill after this, but not a great deal. Oh, the sky. Better be pretty after I've made you stare at Heather. That will do, darlings. That will do. Darlings, who am I talking to? Now we have a real conundrum. I don't normally get this close to water without getting in. And there are people there just getting in or out. Hard to tell from here. Do I stop for a swim? Do I stop for food? Or do I take you up to the World War II bunker? Thoughts in the comments. Oh, that's no use to me. I'll decide by the time I get there. Come on, they're going in. Credit to them. I've made my decision. I'm not going in. I didn't bring a change of clothes with me. Temptation is strong though. For the first time in a long time, I've walked past water without getting in it. But that's because I want to get up to the Fox Hunter car park with enough light left to show you something that a surprising number of people don't even know about. As soon as I show you, you'll wonder how you've ever missed it. Anyway, I've already told you it's a German. No, it's not German. It's a Second World War bunker. A zero bunker. It was used as a sort of signals control centre. There were a number of sort of resistance elements put in place just in case of German invasion. There were regular signal soldiers embedded within the local communities, billeted in local communities. Their job was to set up and to operate a signals network. But there were also resistance elements, patrols, and both the signals and the resistance, for want of a better word, had a series of dug-in bunkers, shelters around the landscape. Now, I'm on the concrete road up to Fox Hunter's car park. I'm not sure there would have been anything except maybe a track running over. The zero bunker was put in as a signals. I'm going to pause a sec, let this car go by. Anyway, so this bunker was put in as a signals provision. It was dug in below the surface, and the antenna for the radio systems were actually run around a mock meteorological shed. But I'll show you where that is. Other areas though were dug in, auxiliary bunkers or shelters. These auxiliary patrol posts, they were dug in the dead of night. Engineers were brought in from other parts of the country, Royal Engineers. They were shipped in not knowing where they were or really what they were doing, and they dug in these shelters, did most of the construction work, and then the local patrol would come in and finish that off, would finish the disguise, if you like, roofing it, concealing it, working plans for the routes in and out. It is an interesting story, and I'm getting a bit distracted because I don't know if you can see the sky as well as I can. It's flipping gorgeous up here. There we go. I was just looking down to that, which was really distracting. Newport nestled in there in the channel. Anyway, yeah, the patrols were really something else. And there's a story just down in the village in Govilon. Recruiters would go around, they'd call in the local community, they'd call in shepherds and farmers and, you know, postmen and teachers and everyone. They call them all in. They'd have a big meeting in the pub, and these meetings are reported to go on a couple of hours. I don't know if they supplied drinks, but drinks would have flowed. And then halfway through, the recruiter called time, and he said, right, you know, we'll have 20 minutes now, and grab yourselves a drink if you need it, and yeah, we'll be back in here, we'll carry on 8 o'clock or whatever. When everybody filed out, the recruiter would hang behind, and if there were anybody left, sat down in the room, he'd usher them out nice and quiet, and they'd disappear, and those were the blokes that he wanted. He'd just leave the others at the bar. He wanted the blokes who weren't distracted, who could sit still, who a couple of hours of inactivity and careful attention, it wasn't a drama. Those one or two blokes, that's who he wanted, that's who they wanted, and they formed then these auxiliary patrols. Now, even more bonkers, I should keep walking because I want to get there before it goes dark. Even more bonkers was, it was so secret that many of these patrol bases, many of these bunkers were never disclosed. The old boys took it to their grave, never discussed it, never mentioned it. And even today, around the country, occasionally people stumble across these shelters. Often the roof has collapsed and someone's walking the dog through the woods, and they find this shelter, the ruins of this shelter. And lots of them were stocked up with rifles, explosives, signals equipment, maps, beds, rations, just in case. These old boys, they didn't say a word. Unlike me, I can't stop, even when I got nothing interesting to say. But I think that is interesting. Anyway, I'm going to slog up the road a little bit more, up to the Fox Hunters car park. I'll join you there. It is so distractingly beautiful up here. Anyway, I was walking up to the Fox Hunters car parks where I said I'd take you, and then I just saw this hidden into the side of the road, and I've lost it. Cladonia cristatella. How have I lost it? Because I just looked at the sun and now I can't see red. There it is. British soldier fungi, Cladonia cristatella, matchstick fungi. And then we've got a little bit of old man's beard just dropped in there as well. Old man's beard. So many mosses, lichens are called old man's beard. And they all fall under essentially the same. Wispy. Oh, come on, focus. There we go. Anyway, Cladonia cristatella. Thought you'd be interested. I'm with my last little bit of charge. Fox Hunters car park. Just walking up now the well-trod path up onto Blorenge, and you will not believe how close, and yet it's so rarely stumbled across. I hope that the battery holds out. Then I'll pause, I'll recharge, and I'll talk you through a little bit of it. You'll be pleased to know it's not very big, so I don't have to talk for very long. But literally just off the path, what am I, 10 meters. And here it is. The structure down here was a square wooden shed. And then just up beyond, we can see the bunker itself. And at that point, I'm going to pause, recharge, and come back to you. Right, I'm not sure how much you saw before my battery cut out, but this is that shelter. And it's sad, really. When I first found it 20 years ago, it was a lot more complete than it is now. Anyway, you remember I was saying that troops would have come in, the Royal Engineers, to dig it. This would have been the entrance shaft, all dug in and concealed, and you'd have climbed down a ladder into that, and then through into this little ante-room, into this entrance chamber. And again, you can just see that roof has collapsed. That grass would have been the roof. And then into the main bit itself. I suppose there'd have been table, maybe bed, rations, radio kit. When I first discovered it, on the door lintels, you could still see where curtains had been hung. There were fragments of curtains still on the lintels. And can we see in? Not quite, but in that corner, just over there, is a little escape tunnel. So if they were compromised, whoosh, they'd uncover it and through they'd go. And that would have led out to, whoops, that would have led out to that square area just here. And that's where the wooden meteorological shed and the anemometer and all that business would have been, and off they'd have gone. Of course, the radio masts weren't there and the car park wasn't there. You can see how close it is though, eh? And yet most people don't know. And now you're few. You're part of the few who do. Right, I'm heading up there. It's getting colder and I've just realised I've forgotten my really warm gloves. And I suffer Raynaud's, so that was stupid. I'll have some food at the top, make my decisions, but I think getting into a bag will be easy. Getting back out the sleeping bag tomorrow, not so enjoyable. Anyway, come to the top with me. I'll make some decisions there. We're on the final leg up to the top. Light is starting to fail and it is starting to get cold. Which reminds me about those gloves. I got thin ones. I just need to stop, get them out, get my jumper out. But I want to get up to those rocks up there. And I want to do it before it's too dark, because there's a tree fossil that you might like to see. Anyway, light is failing, but it's failing in the most spectacular way. Good grief. Isn't it? Not so steady with the filming now, I'm sorry, but I'll do my best. There's a little gully cutched into the rocks. And if you're lucky, it's sheltered and empty. And if you're unlucky, people have filled it full of dog poo, bags of rubbish, tin cans, and that was loose. But this was my one thought for tonight. It is cutched in and sheltered, but it's far rockier than I remember it being. That's possible. Just there. It is possible. That's a bit of bracken. It is possible. Anyway, this fossil, let me find it for you. Right, I'm just coming out of that gully and the fossils are just here on the right. Do you see the straight bandings? And another there. Not quite as cool as the ones on Govilon Hill, but there are definite markings there. You can see that. And that one's very clear, hey? The ones over on Govilon Hill have got lovely dimpling on them from the bark. Now the wind is colder, but I wonder if the sunrise will be better from up on top. It's only going to be -2. How bad can it be? I thought it would take me about 2 hours to get up here. There was a bit of backing and forthing with filming and a couple of pauses to go explore things on the way. Still a beautiful sky, and we are up to the trig point. Got to work on that finger. Up to the trig point, and it is stunning. Just in time for the planetary alignment. I can't remember if it's all 7, but got to touch the trig. I don't know why, it's the rules. Did you even get to the top? Yeah, I did. Right, let's see, that's 1. Venus, I'm guessing, it's ever so bright. Moving up, there's the 2nd, and the 3rd I can see with my eye, but I can't see with you. Let's have a little shot at Newport instead. I'd forgotten how far it was from the summit all the way up and across to the edge overlooking, there we go, there's the 3rd, overlooking Abergavenny. I'm going to plump for it. Can't see the 4th yet. So I'm going to keep wending my way out. Out to that far horizon. I mean, it's not far, 20 minutes, 15. But I'm not sure I'll be coming back in the dark for that little gully. Should have got my torch out. Alright, see you over there. In terms of the planetary alignment, the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd. I can't get a photo though. Pretty light to Newport below us. I'm afraid I'm just sort of way along. I forgot to get my torch out. I thought I'd have stopped at Keepers, you see, and had a bit of food and a bit of drink, and then I pushed on because I wanted to show you stuff. And now it's sort of got dark. I'm going to pick up my turn off in a minute. I'm going to head over to the left and end up overlooking Abergavenny, and I reckon that's probably where I'm going to stay. There won't be an awful lot more to see, so I'll probably say goodbye until I get my torch out and have something to eat. It is not ideal filming without a torch, but we've reached the radio shack up on top of the Blorenge, overlooking Abergavenny. The sky is still absolutely stunning, and I've got a feeling that this is where I'm going to stay. Hey, that is a nice line. I think I'm moving too quickly, but you get the idea, eh? Food, bit of drink, something to eat. Cooked up this crustless quiche before I came.
broccoli and carrot, olives, peppers, cheddar, hard cheese. That is delicious. Well, I've had a little fertile around, and I think I found our spot for tonight. I mean, it's not going to be warm. In fact, it's starting to freeze over already. But it's pretty much sheltered. It's got a great view of the town. It was soft without being too wet. And I hope we'll give a great view of the sunrise in the morning. Still quite tempted to go home, but only because I forgot my big gloves. But the thing is, kind of planned a micro adventure out on the hill, and I feel duty bound to live it through. Right, unless I'm much mistaken, this is us. This is us. And not a bad view, eh? For a quick kit dump. It is nice that it's not raining. Nice that there's no hint of rain at all overnight. I mean, the dew will settle at some point. Right, I pre-set up so that it was that quick and easy, but I didn't put the roll mat in. A lot of people would just put the roll mat on the outside. There's just a little bit of thorns and stuff, thistles, so I'm going to inflate it and then stick it on the inside, just to give it a bit more protection, and saves me rolling off it at night. Right, is that enough? Time will tell. Right, it's time for me to start stripping off. And layering up and settling down. I'm going to make a coffee for the night. Then I'm going to make a hot water bottle. I'm determined not to be cold tonight. I really trust the Nalgene bottles. I don't trust many hot water bottles at all, but I do trust the Nalgene. I've never had a Nalgene leak. And I'm not going to make it boiling. I'm just going to warm it up and then slide that just alongside my femoral artery, just below my groin, and it's incredible. You really feel the warmth of it starting to flow around your body. Now, I appreciate there's a lot of stuff here that everybody might not fairly have for a micro adventure, but it's also -2 heading to -5, and yeah, anyone can be uncomfortable. It's February, so that's me. I feel instantly warmer already. They are incredible. Right, let's settle down.
Good morning. It was quite cold, so I went to bed in my trousers and my jacket, well, mid-layer, hat and hood. Good grief, can you see this? Can you see this? That was worth waking up for.
So why did I do it? It is chilly, crisp, clear, and absolutely stunning. And that's why I did it. I'm packed up to leave. The sun is looking absolutely magnificent. And I'm not saying it was cold, but my water's entirely frozen. How about that?